I can't figure out why the Gulf region is still so heavily Republican. I mean, Democrats don't have a chance to carry any of these states. Yet while they were pushing for benefits for people who were suffering here and a commission to see what went wrong, most Republicans, including John McCain, voted against such measures. And thus the party that claims to be the party of Christ again neglected the people Jesus talked about the most. As sad as Katrina was, it's equally sad that you don't have to wait for a hurricane to find poverty in America. I found it just a half hour away. This is Detroit, Michigan. Driving into downtown, seeing the great sports complexes, the fine architecture, and the beauty of all the landmarks can be deceptive, but the sad truth is that what was once the fourth largest city in America and the engine of the automotive industry has now become a city drenched in poverty, with 1 in 3 residents living below the poverty level and the number of impoverished families steadily increasing. Half of all children in Detroit live in poverty, and the city has the highest high school dropout rate in the nation, with less than 1 in 4 students graduating. And since a high dropout rate leads to a high poverty rate, which leads to people having less money for bills and other necessities, which leads to higher crime, the future is pretty dismal. Due to the record number of manufacturing and automotive job layoffs, many residents have become homeless. And while many people, including those who claim to be Christians, have the misconception that if someone is homeless, it's only because they're lazy, the fact is many homeless people in America are veterans. I came here to talk with some of them and hear what they have to say. We're here in downtown Detroit, about to talk with some homeless veterans that are, they served our country and now they're living on the streets. So we're gonna talk with some of them and hear their story and what happened. When I arrived, they led me to the cafeteria where I could hear their stories. The first veteran I had the honor of speaking with was Leroy Hasty. I asked him about his time in Vietnam and how he felt about America going into that war.
I felt that we were misled, and I felt that despite the fact that we were misled, I might as well do the best I could. A lot of people during that era felt that the war was unjustified and that they were all over there for the wrong reasons.
I asked him what the Army told him to do when he got out.
Just had to go back doing what you did before.
And so were you able to go back to your old job, or just wasn't there?
No. All that was different. And so I just pursued school until the benefits ran out.
What I'm trying to figure out is you're serving, you're a man in uniform, and then you come back and fall on hard times. Like, can you explain that process?
Yeah. That happened. We had some benefits, but they didn't last long.
Well, I know they still only give you so much. Like the new GI Bill they were trying to pass, I remember like Obama talking about it, and he was supporting it, and some other people were not supporting it because they said it was too expensive.
Okay.
To try to give veterans, free college education.
Well, how can you put expense on something that we fought our lives for? We fought our lives for this country. How can you put an expense when it comes time to helping us out when we need it? You see what I'm saying? If we can go over there and fight a war and then come back and ask for help, how can there be expense? People get lives for that. For something that they weren't even sure of, and then come back to ask for some help, and they said, no, that costs too much. Okay, if they would have been in some of the shoes that had to go over there and stay up 24 hours a day just to stay alive, then they would come back and realize how important it is to help these people that's coming out of the service. They would realize that, man, we went through hell and high water. We need help. And you can't put a price on it. Not for going into a foreign land like that and to be taken away from your families, not really knowing what's going on, and you're seeing your friends' heads blown off, and you coming back depressed, PTSD, shell shock, I mean, you got all these problems going wrong with you. They offer you so much, but it's never enough. You know, and then after a certain period of time, they say, well, your benefits ran out. Okay? Your benefits ran out, now good luck. So
And that's
there
it.
are a lot of people that's bitter.
And that's it, huh?
They're bitter. That's it. And then you got all of these memories. You can't sleep right. You wake up at the slightest, the doorbell rang, bling, you jumping up. You know, a car backfired. It started.
Do you find that happens even when you get back home?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yes.
The slightest thing?
That's part of it. That's part of the trauma that you go through.
Does the trauma never goes away?
No, there's
Never
a lot of
completely?
problems, so you'll always be there to some degree.
To some extent.
Yeah, absolutely, always be there.
Leroy then told me how he felt about the current war in Iraq.
This war here is basically about oil. Okay? It's about greed.
So you don't think we'd be there if we didn't have a monetary, we didn't have...
Right. If you didn't have a monetary value, we wouldn't be there. We would leave them alone and they'd be... If they didn't have something that we wanted, we wouldn't be over there. Look how it started. They said Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. To this day, there has not been found any weapons of mass destruction. It's all about oil. Look at the gas prices and the gas out here. Look how sky high it is.
I decided to mention the research I had done on minorities in the military.
Like 20% of the military is Hispanics, although they're only about 15% of the population, and more than 20% of the military are African American, and they're only about 12% of the population. So it seems to me like the minorities, the less advantaged, tend to be more, they seem more willing to sign up and defend a country that doesn't seem to be looking out for them.
They have always been like that.
And one of the reasons,
So that doesn't surprise you?
one of the reasons to me is they've been promised something that they can't get right here. So they like to go off into the...
Because that seems like the best
It
chance
seems
for
like getting
prosperity.
out of the rut that they're in, to be involved in something. And then they realize once it's all over with, it wasn't really cut out like they said it was. You know, you take a child who's born and raised in the slums of a city, give them an opportunity to go in the military, to be something, to learn something, to get paid for it, to get all this training, to travel. You think he won't take it?
I would.
Okay.
We then shifted topics to politics.
They are not ready for Obama and Hillary Clinton.
Why is that?
They're not ready for it. They're not ready for that change.
Because she's a woman and he's a black guy?
Yeah, that's precisely.
Though I disagree, after hearing all he'd been through, I could understand his doubt. He left, and I spoke with James Watson.